Well, it looks like DC gets another flop while Disney slash Pixar also gets another flop. Let's get into it. What is up, guys? It's your boy Hercules, and we are back at it again. Let's get right into this video. So DC had their, their big release in The Flash. Now, if you guys don't remember, The Flash was a movie that I believe it was supposed to come out around 2016, 2017-ish, around that time. I believe right after Justice League. I believe that was the right order how they had it. And it wasn't going to be about a Flashpoint. The whole Flashpoint thing came later on when DC decided to move away from the Snyderverse. Now, let me put this out there. I am a big fan of the Snyderverse. I think his Superman is way better than this fucking Boy Scout. But hey, I understand. Maybe a lot of people didn't like that style of Superman. Maybe a lot of people didn't prefer that style. The movie still made some money, but it wasn't a big success because at that time, everybody was looking at Marvel and the MCU and how much money they were making. So DC was trying to basically catch up. And at the same time, that was the biggest mistake they ever did. Instead of slowly building it up, just like how Marvel did, DC decided to throw everything at the table. And even though I think Zack Snyder, the way he told that story, the way he told those characters, the way he grounded those characters and made you realize there is a difference in how you can deconstruct these characters, and they didn't do any race swap or anything like that, or if they did, it just passed over my head because I didn't realize. But when it came down, the movies weren't as successful, and the critics hated because, I mean, we all know why the critics hated. And some of the fans hated it. It was like a split, pretty much. Some fans hated it, some critics hated, but it was whatever, right? You can't do nothing about that. So whenever they basically decided to step away from the whole Snyderverse, they introduced the whole Flashpoint. And when it came down to the Flashpoint, they decided to really get away. The whole Flashpoint, they were gonna do what the Flashpoint story arc was supposed to be, where instead of Batman, Bruce Wayne living, Bruce Wayne is actually the one that dies. Then his mom, Martha Wayne, becomes the Joker in that universe, and Thomas Wayne, Bruce Wayne's dad, becomes Batman, but just the killing machine that uses guns. They were gonna go with that. Then I guess they found out that they could get Michael Keaton back as Batman, and they scrapped that story. I don't understand why they decided to do that. Look, I think Michael Keaton's a pretty good actor. I think he's an okay Batman. I'm not like these people that think he's the greatest Batman ever. I still think it's Ben Affleck or Christian Bale. Whoever you decide, doesn't matter. They're both great. But when it came down to this, I was just confused. I was very confused, man. But then the movie comes out and people started watching it, and remember the hype train for this. Everybody, even some of the biggest actors out there were saying that this is the greatest film ever. This is the greatest superhero film ever. The greatest superhero film ever since The Dark Knight. Do not ever mention The Dark Knight anywhere near this film. I keep hearing people say, oh, Across the Spider-Verse is the greatest superhero film. Shut the fuck up, too. That is bullshit. The Dark Knight is on a plate on its own. It's on a new tier. It's on a God tier that nothing can even come close. Nothing. The only movie that is kinda close is Spider-Man 2. But that's still below the threshold of a God tier like The Dark Knight. But it looks like The Flash is not doing so good. It's below box office expectation. I believe they only made 55 million. And this is not a good news. This movie looks like it's gonna lose about $300 million to $350 million, maybe $400 million for Warner Brothers. Now, if you guys have not saw any of the spoilers, I'm gonna give you one spoiler. George Clooney returns. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, what? George Clooney? I think you can do something with George Clooney. Now, do I think George Clooney is gonna be the Batman going forward? I don't really believe he's gonna be, but you never know. I think George Clooney, if you tell him as a director, you tell him, look, I want you to play a more serious Batman. I want you to be like this. I want you to be like that. I think he can do it. But when it comes to the way this film did George Clooney's return as Batman, it was just like a joke. It was like, yeah, here's George Clooney, here's Batman, blah, 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 end it. It made no freaking sense. And James Gunn, I know a lot of people believe in James Gunn, that he's the savior of DC and all this BS, but I truly don't believe him. I don't. Look, I think he made an incredible Guardians of the Galaxy 1. I haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I don't care for it. I don't care for it because guess what? I went and watched Guardians of the Galaxy special, the Christmas special. I kept hearing everybody say, oh my God, it's the greatest thing ever. Oh my God, it's the greatest thing ever. That's the greatest thing ever? That shit was boring. That shit was, it wasn't anything impressive. It was just James Gunn doing James Gunn. It wasn't fun. At least the original Guardians of the Galaxy felt unique, felt special, felt like something you haven't seen. Then came Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was okay. It wasn't at the level of Guardians Volume 1. But I keep hearing some people say, oh, Volume 3 is better than 1. I don't believe you. It might be better than Volume 2. And even though I still think Volume 2 is a pretty good film, it's still not that good of a jump. It didn't break box office records also. So when I hear James Gunn doing a reboot, I start thinking, okay, maybe he can do something, right? Well, let's go and see his DC world, right? His DC plans. This guy basically was given the go ahead and do a Suicide Squad however you see it. And look, he took characters that we probably would never see on the screen ever. He gave them an opportunity, but he also, in my opinion, made some of those characters into a joke. One specifically that comes into my mind was when his brother played Calendar Man. It's a quick cameo, and I get it. You can be like, oh my God, dude, it's just a freaking small cameo. Yes, but why do you think we pay attention to small little details? When I saw his brother play Calendar Man, I was like, what the fuck is this, dude? Like, Calendar Man to me is like your Hannibal Lecter. He's like this iconic character that you could make into a big threat. You might think, oh my God, Calendar Man? But when you really start to think about what his motives is, you can realize this character could be big. But he pretty much makes it into a joke. He takes a lot of these characters that a lot of people don't know and just kills them off. And I get it. Supposedly in the comics, I never read the Suicide Squad comics because it got to a point where a lot of comics were just, they were trash. And maybe some of the classics were very good, but you get to a point where you collect comics and then you read comics and then you start to kind of go away. You start, I guess you could say you start growing up, but it's not really growing up. It's just, at that time, comics were not cool. Comics just became cool like, what, 10 years ago? superhero stuff became cool like 10, 15 years ago. So, I mean, it's not that long ago. But, again, I think I'm going off rails. But, again, I don't trust James Gunn. I don't. Because as much as people say, oh, Peacemaker, 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 I think his Peacemaker is good. Do I think he's comic book accurate? I don't know. I never read that. But I don't believe he is. When I see King Shark, he's not comic book accurate. But I thought it was a decent character that it worked. Bloodsport, I think it's Bloodsport. I think he was okay, but he wasn't like a character that, oh, I gotta see more of this character. No. I think the original Suicide Squad worked better for me. Do I think it's the better movie or anything like that? No, because there's a lot of things that didn't work out. Like when you get to the ending of that film, it's really bad. But that beginning of that film was incredible. So look, I don't know what's gonna happen with this new DC. I'm afraid that it's not gonna be as incredible as some people think. I think some people are saying that no, he's really gonna reboot everything. He's gonna start from scratch, and maybe he is. But a lot of the people that I've been seeing that they're considering as Superman, I guess, because that's his first. Really, that's his only true thing. Because if Superman fails, this whole universe that he's talking about building, this 10-year plan, it's not gonna work if Superman fails. But the people that he's thinking of having for Superman, look, I never try to judge anybody, but they definitely don't look to me as Superman. But I'm willing to give them a try, because for years I tried to watch the classic Superman and even Superman Returns, even the TV show Superman, and they all were very boring to me until Zack Snyder, Henry Cavill, Christopher Nolan, and Warner Brothers gave me Man of Steel, and I became a fan of Superman. Then we had the Injustice Superman and all these other things that we got from Superman, and I fell in love with this character. But it's specifically Man of Steel Superman, and the BVS Superman, and the Justice League Superman, the Zack Snyder Superman. But we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. I hope they can find success, because at the end of the day, DC hasn't pushed any real political BS in their movies. Now, in their comics, yes, but in their movies, they really don't push any of that stuff, unlike Marvel. But you never know. You never know. I'm gonna leave it there, guys. Let me know what you guys think down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time.